Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Good evening, Melinda. Good to have you here. Welcome, everyone. If you are new to these Q&As, we are happy to have you. We have these every few weeks, and I announce them in the Facebook group or on our Instagram, and anyone is welcome with their questions for whatever they want to talk about, be it something from the podcast or the book or just life in general. Happy to talk about all of it. So usually we start with any burning questions that may have brought you here. You're welcome to post them into the chat, and we'll sort of review them and kind of hold them as we bring in the chorus, if you have any of that. And then otherwise, I bring in the chorus for sort of a kickoff message, and then the conversation just takes off from there. So if you had anything that brought you here tonight, please feel free to type it into the chat. And you may have noticed there's a different background for those of you who are regulars. So this is my parents' spare bedroom. We are slowly making our way across the country. For those who don't know, we are moving across the country, and I'm actually only 15 minutes from where my old house used to be. We're getting there bit by bit. So, all right, no questions. So I will bring through the course, and then we'll see where we go from there. Dear ones, it is a joy to be with you as always, no matter the format. Though we know that you enjoy very much this channel's interpretation of us and the messages that she shares, she and we emphasize that you all are capable of connecting to us and many other beings, but that you are, perhaps we might say, rediscovering your abilities to do so. That energetic connection is quite commonplace in the energetic universe, and that humanity is exceptional in that you all have given yourselves the opportunity to experience disconnection. It is this history that we have begun to reflect to you, because it is this history that you are starting to awaken to, the paths by which you found yourselves here, the paths by which you created the experience of being disconnected. Yes, energetically, we could say that it is as simple as that. But also, you are five senses humans, and many other senses too, we might point out. And as you begin to recall this history to yourselves, there will be many stories, many aspects of these things that will be expressed on all of your senses. Examples of events that you have lived, that you have seen or touched or tasted or felt in some way. And so all things on this spectrum are true and are representative of what you are. The simple fact that you are energetic beings and are learning to connect with all aspects of your energetic self once again, and also that you are doing it by way of expanding from the perspective of the five senses. And therefore, all things that you continue to perceive around you, in whatever way you do so, are contributing to this awakening process. The questions that you have about what you see and what you do not understand are part of this awakening process. The things that bring you joy and that you want more of are part of this awakening process. And all the things in between, be it a frustrating day, a good day, a great day, or a completely mysterious day, as perhaps is often the case for many of you right now. Mystery is often one of the ways that you will allow in possibility. It is only when a human is truly stumped, we could say, that they allow for a new explanation. Therefore, we would suggest that in this current time period and in the near time period to come, perhaps we will say, using your concept of linear time, which it pleases us to do so, there will be a growing number of mysteries, a growing number of things that cannot be explained, and a growing number of things that open many humans to alternate explanations, to new definitions, to new ideas or concepts that perhaps before they had not considered, because perhaps before they had not needed to. We understand that you probably sense this in yourselves and in the paths that have led you here, and therefore you are primed and ready to recognize that shift in others. And it is your ability to hold your experiences, to exist in your perspective among them, that will make it easier for them to see the potential, the benefit, the progress, and opening to alternate explanations that they had not considered before. This is, by our definition, expansion. Expansion from a point of great limitation in which you did not perceive much nor consider much that had not already been manifested on your wavelengths. And now you are opening to many explanations, that may also be considered or held simultaneously. Explanations that do not negate other explanations. You are giving up your need for a one and a singular reality, and instead you are expanding into the beautiful potential in multiple perspectives, and all the ways that many perspectives shine a light in brighter ways on what you are experiencing. They are more information. They are clarifying. They are not at odds, though for a great many years in this experience of being human, you all have experienced much by way of the idea that perspectives must agree. We have said much, and also we have energetically communicated much that you all will continue to resonate with long after this evening has passed. And so for now, we ask you, what questions do you have for us? Very energized this evening. I feel like they had their V8, or I did. I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure how much of it is them and how much of it is me, right? It's a weird experience. So, what questions do you guys have, if any, for the chorus this evening? And for those of you who are new here, welcome. When you ask a question in the chat, I'm happy to just read it as is, and then they sort of take the show away and go from there. Or I offer that if you want to come up on stage and interact with them, you're welcome to. They don't bite. It is sometimes strange if you've not interacted with a channel directly before, because your brain is a little bit like, who's talking? What's happening? There's a little bit of that you'll feel. But otherwise, it can be pretty great to talk to them directly. So we'll see if anybody's brave enough to go first. And if not, then I'll come up with questions because I've had a lot for them today. Been talking about many things. Right. Melinda says, I don't have a specific question, just getting curious lately about competition among humans. Oh, interesting. You are on the frequency. I've been having a conversation, not about competition exactly, but about paths, I guess you could say. I don't know, finding others on their paths, things like that, and how it's sometimes perceived. So, all right, great. Melinda, we'll talk about that to start. Thanks. Competition is quite simply a beautiful reflection of your resonance with the idea of finiteness. It is, in a sense, the foundation of a human existence, that there is not enough to go around, or just barely enough to go around, and therefore you must compete, whether it be for resources or business, But also, there are unconscious aspects to this as well that you often find in your days, that your different interests compete with each other, do they not? And this is a reflection of your beliefs in finiteness across the board, that you believe that there is a finite amount of time in a day, in a concept, in a lifetime. And so, therefore, it is not just competition between each of you. That is the embodiment of this finiteness. It is the competition between all things that you experience. It is the competition between all aspects of yourself, which must win. You see, at times you wish to be magnanimous or very generous, but there is another part of you that competes with that idea and says, but we must also ensure that there's enough left for us. Or perhaps there is a part of you that wants to stop and help another, but there is another part of you that remembers that if you do, you will be late to this other opportunity to help another. Therefore, finiteness is experienced in many ways by a human, or we might say expressed in many ways by a human. As humanity starts to awaken, as you continue on this path, you will begin to question the things inside of you that demand there be a singular victor. You will become more conscious of the beliefs that say, well, you will be late. Well, you can only pick one hobby. Well, if you do this for yourself, then you will have less time for your children. Those beliefs create, in a way, the finiteness of time. As you awaken to those beliefs and their action upon you, you will find that time expands. You will find that actually things coincided that created more solutions in a shorter span of time. This is the beginning of conscious control of interaction with time, because by way of seeing these beliefs, you are making a choice. It may not seem so at the start because it is very new and subtle to a human. But as you continue to go forward, you will see the resonance with the beliefs themselves that is molding the experience of time. And you will be able to choose different versions of those beliefs that allow for more expansive experiences within the same period of time, thereby expanding your experience of time. Do you have another question for us? Melinda says, love that. Great. Yeah, and I said to them the other day, I was like, "I hear you, but it doesn't feel conscious yet." Nope. I was like, I have these moments of being like, the time pressure, like I feel it. I feel like I have to decide this right now. I feel like I have to get all 10 things done at once and I can't pick which of the 10 things to do first. And then I sort of pull up and it's like, okay, all right, this is about time. But it feels kind of like a slog. Like it's not fluid and I don't really feel like I'm choosing it. And I can calm myself down. I can take a deep breath and like come out of that agitation of like not having enough time. But it doesn't feel like I'm always conscious of the exact beliefs that kicked it off, right? It's like I notice it down the path once I'm already like a big ball of tension. And they say that that's fine. That's part of the awakening process. Is at least at some point we're becoming aware of it. Where for millions of years here we didn't really even recognize that tension, that lack of time that we embodied, and now we're starting to. And then according to them, it gets easier as you go. So Melinda says, yeah, I'm wondering about the competition when it comes to claiming ownership over things. This is my pet or my child. Good question. Okay. We will start by saying something that you already know, but we will say it for the importance of establishing a foundation. When you have two humans that are disagreeing over a perceived finite object, really what you are creating for yourselves is an opportunity to experience finiteness and in some cases to awaken from it. So at the energetic basis, there has been agreement. There has been agreement to this experience and to the result of what you yourself would awaken to by way of this. This is not to say that all parties involved will awaken to the aspects of finiteness, but that there is the possibility. So you have engaged yourself at the perfect time, we might say, in your process of awakening to these different experiences of time, that you are coming to clarity on its representation across the board, including in expressions of finiteness of resources or items or relationships that you have in your life. Let us put it another way. If you and this other party had an infinite amount of time, the need to decide how to split the time in those relationships might soften, because there is nothing that that other party can do that would detract from your infinite experience of time with that one, with that being, with that relationship. You are unaffected by the actions of another. This is a massive part of your belief system complex. The ideas of the power that others can affect over you and in your life. Humanity has many beliefs about unwanted experiences that are impinged upon you, that are forced upon you. It is the utmost of your limitation. It is powerlessness. Time is heavily integrated into your experience of powerlessness. Often, as you are coming into an experience of powerlessness, there will be a corollary rise in beliefs about time, where as you are starting to feel like this person is taking over your life or affecting you in some way, you will feel that there is less and less and less time to prevent it, to protect yourself, to thwart it, to end it. It will start to feel, as humans often call, futile. Futility is an experience that requires these beliefs about finiteness of time. If you had an infinite amount of time to have these relationships, if you had an infinite amount of time to resolve these things, if there was truly no worry, if you could go on vacation for 10 years and come back and solve this then, you see how much that person's power over your life would be reduced. Humans, in your current perspective, place much emphasis on the five senses aspects of these things, as that was your only perception in this reality. Now you are expanding to add in these energetic aspects of yourself. This is why so much emphasis has been placed by your belief systems on the thing that is being competed over, as opposed to the energetic aspects of the beliefs that are contributing to that experience of finiteness in that experience of competition. Now, many humans will want to say, well, then, how do I resolve this experience of competition? And this is where we often say, well, you are doing it by going through it. You are becoming conscious to these things by way of this experience that you chose. All things in awakening are contributing to your expansion. But we know that most humans do not like to hear that they are already manifesting what it is that they want when it is clearly not what they want. So we will say something else instead. We will say that as you continue to move forward in this experience, you will become more and more aware of how your beliefs about time are contributing to the experience itself. In so doing, each time you will feel unease, you will feel a release, and you will feel something that will continue to spread into the entire situation that is manifesting. The energetic place precedes the manifested place. And therefore, you will become more aware of your control, as it were, in your choice of experience of time that will manifest in an opening. That source of competition, that strain, will begin to soften until it will seem as though there was really never anything to compete about at all. Manifestations will stretch into shorter and shorter periods of time. you will find that you have ample opportunity to secure the love, the relationship, the hopes and dreams that you have for your connection to those ones that you are also sharing with another. That is the heart and soul often of competition, is that humans hold within them a desire and they do not see how they can achieve that desire while also allowing for the similar or contrary desires of another. Were you in a different perspective, you might see how those things might actually complement each other or might build the solution of the other. This is true today at the individual scale, but also at the meta scale, where you have competition for resources or power or things between your countries. Your countries right now are a perfect reflection of these same belief systems, where they embody the idea that there must be one victor. And they do not yet hold the perspective that these desires are coming in simultaneously by two ones in creation who are perceiving each other, because in actuality, what is equally possible outside of the belief system that says that it's not, is that these desires will continue to complement and construct for each other the result that all parties would wish. Humanity is not quite there yet, but you will be. And then you will find a different experience of competition. From that vantage point, when one aligns to your path so closely, you will find that it is inevitable that you all will complement each other, support each other, amplify each other's manifestive power to create the solutions that you wish. So, it begins by believing that there is enough time for this competition to resolve itself, for these relationships to be whole and full of love and shared. And that in this moment in time, yes, that solution may not be yet perceivable on the five senses, but in your ability to even contemplate the possibility of these things, you have already begun to manifest them. Does this assist you? Melinda says, I feel relief in hearing this. Okay. All right. Let that integrate for a second. And anybody else who has questions for them or for me, happy to answer anything. Although today I'm feeling like I don't know shit. Do you have those days? Yesterday, I thought I was brilliant. I totally did. And then this morning, I'm like, I don't know anything. You know that feeling where it's just like, it's like, where am I? What's happening? Well, this is, I had that day yesterday. Today was my more brilliant day. Oh, good. Okay. We're balancing each other out. See, we all take turns in awakening. At least one of us is brilliant. That's all we need. We just, team effort here in awakening, right? When I'm curled on the floor in the fetal position, that's okay because somebody else is like, no, I got this. It all makes sense. I feel like, okay, good. All right. Anybody else? I've been talking to the chorus. Well, you guys think of any other questions that you have. I've been talking to the chorus lately about, I don't know, I guess following your desire is like a light way to put it, but really it's about all the things that you think have to be done before you follow your desire. It's so subtle. And I've been becoming more and more aware of those things in a way that I wasn't before. Another aspect of this competition thing that we've been talking about is basically there's a lot of beliefs of obligation in our belief system complex. It was a way that we sort of tied ourselves into a similar way of behaving, of being, of looking at things. It's sort of a construct of a singularity, of a single reality. We all had to agree to a lot of stuff, which is pretty incredible in an infinite universe. So, what this has manifested as in our belief system complex are very subtle beliefs about obligation. And some of them are becoming more obvious to us now in this day and age about ways that we sort of affected our behavior or mold our behavior to appease others. But it also goes way deeper than that. There are certain things that we won't even contemplate until we have fulfilled what we believe is an obligation or a responsibility to another party. And that was perfectly and purposefully designed because we did not want ourselves to contemplate more of those other and infinite possibilities because we came here for the purpose of being limited with each other. And so now I'm starting to see more of these things, and one of them that I'm still processing but has sort of come through is like, a needing to pay down a debt for your own uniqueness. It this is I'll try and be, like, articulate here, but it's still brand new. But basically, you have something that you are feeling really strong about or that you really can do or that this really speaks to you and, like, at times it even lights you up inside. And then there's something that weighs it down. Like, let's be realistic. And some of those beliefs that cause that then lowering feeling are beliefs that actually you have to like pay a penance sort of for that uniqueness or for that success. We see this in ideas about um, people working hard before they make it to the top, or people really investing their savings or taking hard risks, or there is an alive concept in our belief systems that like we reject in many ways the idea that someone can just like be born good at something or just naturally be good at something the day that they want it, right? If you're walking around the grocery store tomorrow and you're like, I would really like to do this thing, without our even conscious say so, there are all these beliefs that'll say, oh, yeah, well, that's going to take time. That's going to take effort. And what it amounts to is sort of this idea or this sense of like, you gotta pay first. You have to pay down a debt to others, to people you'll upset, to your family who won't approve of it. Like all these things have to be lined up before you can then really just expand in the direction of your desire or of your uniqueness. What's interesting is that they said that that is actually the illusion. That's the illusion that you actually can. Because this five senses belief system is based on the idea of finiteness and insufficiency, which means we're constantly generating it. All of us are infinitely connected to energy, which means this belief system is updating all the time. So, as long as you are coming from the five senses perspective and saying, oh, first, I just have to pay down this debt and then I'll be able to, what you are participating in and contributing to is the idea of paying down the debt, of obligation, of responsibility to others, of all the things that you have to do. And that's why years can pass. Days can pass, weeks can pass before you actually move in that direction because you have been basically in our belief system, which is telling you that the way to resolve that is actually the way that you're energizing that. So I sort of like, okay, well, then what do we do? Sounds really bulletproof. I mean, I feel that. I feel like I need to do all these other things first. I need to get my family established or my kid raised, or we need to get our finances there. I have so many things that are front and center as feeling very logical that I have to do before, as Melinda was asking about in competition, before this other thing that would compete for my time and resources is allowed in. I have to know that these things are done. So how else do I do it? And they were sort of like, ultimately what you do is you soften your beliefs about time, which you're already doing, which allows for more things to be present simultaneously. So it's not like take care of my family or pursue my dreams. It's like actually there's enough time for both of these. And then eventually they actually support each other. They actually are constructive, which is very different than the destructive reality that we created where things compete and break each other down. So ultimately, that's where we're going to. But they said that a baby step, a first step, is to try and create these little bitty windows of time where you allow for that other thing without it competing with the other stuff. It's that little bit of a flex. So it's like, okay, I got the laundry done. I did this thing. I dropped off my kid. I paid those bills. For the next 5 minutes, I'm going to pursue my dream. And I have no demands on what that 5 minutes produces. The 5 minutes is just to spend 5 minutes feeling what that's like. And they say if you do these little windows, like even as you're driving in your car and you're like, I'm driving. So this whole time that I'm driving, I'm going to think about this thing, right? And as you start putting these little windows of time in your life all over the place, they say it starts to generate its own beliefs that these things can actually coexist. And then from there, the rest of the beliefs start to be built as well. That was a massive tangent. I don't know if it helped anyone out there who's dealing with juggling competing interests or I don't know, competing demands on your time versus what it is that you really want to do, your dreams, whatever that is for you. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? For the chorus or me? Anything that's going on in your life even that you're just like, what's this? I'd just like to hear a perspective. Maybe sometimes that helps me too. I don't have a specific question. I'm just sort of like this. Talk about that thing. What's that? All right. Great. Well, if someone's typing right now, because I know I'm a slow typer, I've got to jump off. Thank you, Katie, in the chorus. Thanks, Melinda. So I'll start wrapping up, but if you are typing, I'll give you a few more minutes because I can be a slow typer too. But thank you all for coming tonight, and we will continue to post the dates for our live events on our website at katieandthechorus.com/live. I'll also put them on the Facebook page and group and on our Instagram. So our Instagram is at Katie Chorus. So over the next few weeks, I'm not really sure at this time when the next one will be, but we'll keep broadcasting it when we do fix a date so that everybody knows. And thank you all for your flexibility in scheduling this time and answering to the poll. I really appreciate that. Happy to do that in the future too, so we can keep making these fit for as many schedules as possible. It's great. Thanks very much, everyone. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.